There are growing domestic concerns about the effectiveness of the tactics and strategies that are being used to achieve the goal of security for every Nigerian and visitor. Economic policy experts, academics, and security professionals have recommended reducing unemployment, illiteracy, and poverty as the solution. Is economic growth and development the magic wand? Who are the kidnappers and who are they from? Where are they from? And what are their motives and what is the way out? Joining us now, the news at 10 is Channels Television's data and information consultant, Babajide Ogusowo, who has a huge book on the table. Tell us, you want to talk to us about that first? Or you want to go into the discussion?
With every crisis, there are opportunities. And so I've been asking myself that, Jide, how can you become a billionaire like Mr. B in today's Nigeria? And one idea came to mind that if perhaps I wrote a book, Kidnapping 101, the 7 secrets of how not to get caught, will you buy? I think perhaps lots of Nigerians will buy that book and I would eventually...
You put it online, I'll download it.
All right, so I have a copy for you today, but it's an exclusive copy. I hope that I don't have to publish this book and make it public because there is hope. This will probably just be the only copy that will be published. So tonight, there are 3 things that Nigerians and Africans are bothered about, and I think we should talk about those 3 things. The first is kidnapping. We need to ask ourselves that what exactly is the cause of kidnapping? And the second is we need to look at the case of Leah Sharibu, and finally we need to then look at the solutions. Well, listen carefully to this. Exactly on this day, 5 years, it's now 5 years past the century, July 28, 1914, Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia, and that was the beginning of World War I. And so today, yes, we've seen a declaration of war on terrorism, but more than ever before, Amarachi, we need to also declare a war on our porous borders. We need to declare a war on kidnapping. We need to declare a war on all evil doers. Even though we're looking at this book that a lot of Nigerians will be interested in, the 7 secrets of how not to get caught, here's one of the first things I want us to carefully consider tonight. And that is, what is the rule book of the terrorist? So let's take a look at what the rule book looks like. How do the terrorists operate? That's what I mean. And the first is, the evidence shows that they operate by creating a foundation of fear. They use a lot of audio and visuals to lay that foundation. Then they build on that foundation using emotions. And finally, they finish the house using deceit. And religion is a major deceit that the terrorists use. So how do we demolish this house that the terrorists have built? 3 ways. Destroy that foundation by the government instilling hope. We build and we destroy all of that emotional narrative they have created, especially using the girl-child narrative, by creating opportunities for girls to go back to school and to feel confident. And then let's look at that finished structure that they've also done, using religion as a deceit to build their narrative. We can destroy that by instilling trust in all Nigerians. So hope, opportunities, and trust is the key to demolishing the house that terrorists have built using fear, emotions, and deceit.
What about security?
Security.
If you provide security, then girls feel confident to go to school, right?
Yes, girls feel confident to go to school. But you've spoken about girls. Let's look at the case of Leah Sharibu and the narrative that is being put out. The narrative from the terrorists is that Leah Sharibu was not released because she didn't renounce Jesus. But is that factual? Listen carefully to this. The Quran in chapter 2, verse 256 says that religion and Islam must not be forced on anybody. The Surah Al-Baqarah clearly states that religion shouldn't be under compulsion. So in other words, the terrorists are not righteous, neither are they practicing Islam. Religion is just a boogeyman for the terrorists. So let's look at the history of the Dapchi kidnap, and then we'll also then find out clearly that religion isn't the cause of why Leah hasn't been released. Leah has just been used as a pawn to achieve a lot of their objectives. Look at what had happened since February 2018. Girls were kidnapped. We had seen 110 girls kidnapped A month after, we had seen 104 had been released. Now, fast forward into what had happened in August. We are seeing an audio message from Leah Sharibu. Again, going back into the rule book of the terrorists. In June, Leah's mother this year traveled to the United States. And then this month, we've seen another video with a mention of Leah Sharibu. Well, in this 3 minutes, 17 second video, Leah Sharibu was not mentioned until the final 10 seconds of that video. In other words, the terrorists are playing up emotions. And so remember, Leah Sharibu deserves to be free, just like every other person that is being held hostage and has been kidnapped. They genuinely deserve their freedom. However, religion, or Leah Sharibu's religion, is only a boogeyman. So it is really not because she's a Christian, or it's not because the president is a Muslim that she's not being released. It is because the terrorists deceive and they are evil doers. They are not practicing even what Islam says. Religion should not be forced. The second chapter of the Quran, verse 256.
So should the government negotiate with them? Because you have just pointed out, rightly so, they're not a religious group because they're not practicing, the Quran. So they're a terrorist organization, obviously. Should we negotiate with them?
It depends on what side of the table you sit. If we start discussing about negotiating with terrorists, then I probably wouldn't end this discussion. Well, here's what is important. Rewarding terrorists for their criminal activities should not be encouraged because it is crime and it is evil. So here, let's look at carefully about the 3 facts on terrorism. Let's quickly look at that. And the evidence shows that the first is 85% of all terrorist activities or all victims of kidnapping are released within the first 1 week. 78% of kidnapping activities occur in Africa and Asia. And yes, Nigeria, there are concerns of kidnapping, but globally, India, Pakistan, Mexico, Venezuela, Kenya, Somalia, and Colombia are also terrorist activity hotspots. In other words, kidnapping is not a Nigerian problem. Kidnapping is a global problem.
It's a global trend, Babajide.
But in the final analysis, if there's just one solution we need to recommend, it is that terrorists, their goal is really not to kidnap, it is to escape. So there's no kidnapper, there's no kidnapper that wants to kidnap without wanting to escape. So if we're able to block the escape routes, then we will also be able to minimize the rate at which kidnappers kidnap. Because again, there's no terrorist that wants to kidnap without escaping. So the priority of a terrorist is not to kidnap, it is to escape.
And also to leave with a ransom.
And don't forget to read your 7 secrets of how
I will.
Kidnapped.
Thanks a lot, Babajide, for joining us tonight and for opening our eyes to these things. Thanks again for being here on the News at 10.
The pleasure is all mine.